You know what I'm getting really tired of? Politics in video games. In fact, I can't stand politics in any medium that isn't politics. And I want this to be the last time I tackle a subject like this because I'm sick of it. I'm so tired of going onto gaming sites and having to filter out people's political ideologies out of content that I enjoy. It's so incredibly dumb that everything, and I mean everything, has to be a political issue of some sort. Even when people try to keep something away from politics, there's always a group that drag it through the mud. Like when Nintendo released Tamagotchi Life and didn't have same-sex couples programmed into it. It didn't matter if there was a workaround where you could just make a female character look like a male or vice versa. No, people threw a fit and Nintendo said all they wanted to do was make a fun game. That was their entire goal. And then you had the SJW saying that Nintendo made it a political issue by not including same-sex arrangements. No. You made it a political issue by having a massive stick up your ass. Or when the CEO of Chick-fil-A said that he believes that marriage should be between a man and a woman. People were boycotting Chick-fil-A, but they didn't really do anything as they're still in business. I don't eat at Chick-fil-A, but that's because I think their food is nasty. But then it's okay for Caitlyn Jenner, who is not a beautiful person and looks like the gypsy from Thinner, went on Ellen and said that she was a traditionalist, believing that marriage should be between a man and a woman, and then later changed her mind due to some backlash she got. Although I think people were just saying that so people would get off her back. Me, I'm pro-gay marriage, because there's no such thing as a traditional marriage anymore. Men are not selling their daughters anymore for livestock, at least in developed countries. Arranged marriages aren't considered normal, not to mention there's guys out there who've married body pillows and video game characters, so why not let same-sex couples get married? And the funny thing is, we all have a friend or a relative that believes that marriage should be between a man and a woman for either religious or personal reasons, but we don't call them out on it in person. We accept they have those beliefs, but we don't shame them for it. But if some rando on the internet expresses the same beliefs your friend has, then they start bringing out the torches and pitchforks and start dismantling the life of someone they don't know behind their monitor shields. But then there's people out there who you know have an axe to grind, like the Wall Street Journal, who put together a bunch of clips of PewDiePie to make him look bad, calling him a Nazi over him trying to show the ridiculous nature of what people do on Fiverr because two guys held up an anti-Semitic sign. The Wall Street Journal said they contacted him for a statement before posting it, but I have a hard time believing that. And because they've gone on to label YouTube as a platform for racism, which in turn started the ball rolling on companies pulling ads from the site. Why would the Wall Street Journal do this? Well, some people think it's because YouTube is a threat to them. If you're watching people on YouTube, you're not on their site. And a lot of people believe that's how older media sees things like YouTube, the internet, and other streaming services. They want it destroyed so that you go to their sites or watch their television channels, so that way they get the ad revenue displayed on their site or during commercial breaks. And the thing is, PewDiePie still has 54 million subscribers, so he's not really affected by it. And even when things were explained, you have Polygon, who just loves stuff like this, saying that how what PewDiePie did was not okay and getting on their soapbox and preaching their political correctness, when they're just as guilty as him, if not more so, as they were trying to lead the anti-Gamergate movement and are still trying to bring it up. Then you have what happened to JonTron, where he was in a debate with a bleeding heart liberal who goes by Destiny. Now, I only watched the first hour of that, but from what I saw, I do not think that JonTron had said anything racist. But you could tell that Destiny is a piece of shit, because whenever JonTron asked a question, Destiny ignored it, danced around it, or answered a different question that wasn't asked. Every time JonTron tried to make an analogy, Destiny was very quick to shut it down so this way he didn't have to answer to it. For example, Destiny said that you can't tell a black community to get over the years of oppression and fix their shit. John asked, why should it be anyone else's problem but their own? Asking, do they not have their own personal responsibility? And then Destiny says that we live in a world where we help each other, and goes on to say that we do because people are surviving childbirth, less people are dying to natural disasters, and people are moving into middle class all over the world. He flat out avoided JonTron's question. At one point, Destiny accuses JonTron of saying that there's riots happening all over Europe, and then Destiny claims that there isn't. However, I did some fact-checking into that. There were the Rinkeby riots in Sweden in February of this year. In 2014, there were riots in Ukraine. In 2013, there were riots in Bulgaria, Stockholm, Sweden, Belfast, Ireland, and Taipei, France. Destiny goes on to say that we are in an unprecedented era of peace. However, ISIS is still a threat. In 2010, 11, and 12, there were a ton of riots in the Middle East, not to mention whatever's happening in Syria. So it's rather obvious that Destiny is quite detached from reality. Destiny then tried associating JonTron with neo-Nazis, because I guess he had a few that were following him. JonTron even asked if it was guilt by association, and just because they follow or reply to him, that does not mean he endorses them. He has no control over who watches his Twitter feed, but Destiny still tried to associate John with them. And from what I saw, again, the first hour, Destiny was just twisting things around to avoid answering anything JonTron said. Now, John did say that wealthy black people commit more crimes than poor whites, as that's something people bring up a lot. I'm willing to give John the benefit of the doubt here, that he read the information wrong. I looked it up, and the information I saw said that wealthy black people were twice as likely to be a victim of a crime than a poor white person. So he might have misinterpreted the statistics. I had to reread it a few times because of the wording to make sure that it was talking about the victim, not the perpetrator. But Kotaku and Polygon jumped on JonTron's case more than PewDiePie's. But no one really stopped watching JonTron. His subscriber count didn't plummet. Kotaku and Polygon saw what the Wall Street Journal did. Saw all that traffic that the Wall Street Journal got and then tried to recreate it with JonTron. Because they wanted those clicks, and this goes back to what I said in my Sexism in Gaming video. The super long one with the extra rant at the end. Where when people start running out of things to fight against, they start creating their own problems to fight. Then recently, an article was written on Jalopnik or something where the writer was complaining about grid girls that Monster Energy had hired. Complaining about how it was making the objectification of women normal and all that in a male-dominated sport. The author made a passing mention to assign blame to the women, but mostly, like 99% of the article, railed against Monster Energy. How is it Monster Energy's fault that women answered the ad? No one forced them to be grid girls. No one forced them to say, put on this skimpy spandex outfit and dance around. They knew what the job was. They didn't have to do it. They had every opportunity to walk away, but they did it anyway. How is it the fault of Monster that these women became grid girls? They probably like being looked at. They find men ogling them empowering because they know they can get that guy to do whatever it is they want. There are women out there that are like that, and any feminazi social justice warrior cannot deny that. And if they do, then obviously, like Destiny, they are detached from reality. And this goes right back to what JonTron was trying to make a point of. Don't people have personal responsibility anymore? Why does it have to be someone else's problem instead of their own when they are the ones causing the issue? What's with the ignoring of facts just because it makes a group of people look bad? All it does is shift blame to another source. It doesn't solve the problem because shifting blame won't fix the problem. The problem will just keep going as the true source of it will never get addressed. Not everything has to have politics involved in it. And it's this stupid identity politics that's making things crumble to the ground. Because all it does is cause more division than bring people together. And the thing is, the people who write all these articles are people on the left. And that constantly push these false narratives and try to get people into feeling guilty that they aren't being given their way. In this past election, you had these same people saying that if you're a person of color and don't vote for Hillary Clinton, then you're a race traitor. Or if you're white and you vote for Donald Trump, then you're a racist. And these people are gaming journalists. Their job is to cover video games. They're not supposed to be using their platform for their own personal agendas, to espouse their own personal beliefs or political ideologies. But they do, as if they're the ones who think they know everything about how people of the world think, when they're just as clueless as the rest of us. They like to blame small microaggressions on the Trump presidency, as some love to say things like, in this Trump era, or some stupid shit like that. Just because someone said or did something you didn't agree with and was seen as a mild annoyance, you do not need to get on your soapbox and start preaching so that it doesn't happen again. Get off your cross, take the wood to build a bridge and get over it. And if you're a right-wing person and thinking, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about, screw you. The right started this nonsense early with people like Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, and Glenn Beck, who are men so stupid that they gave rise to even dumber morons like Alex Jones and Steve Bannon. So the right isn't an innocent party either, and they're just as guilty as the left when it comes to dividing people. The only reason why I'm not talking about them in this piece is because I would probably die of an aneurysm just looking into all their stupid bullshit that they love to push, which is fake news they agree with. And just because you agree with it, that does not mean that it's correct. And recently, Patricia Hernandez, because of course it would be her, was ragging on Ethan Klein of H3H3 Productions, who actually did his own due diligence in reporting and took down a video where he made a mistake. She was saying that the YouTube community played itself. Fuck off, bitch. You're a writer for Kotaku, a subsidiary of the now defunct Gawker. You people are nothing but muckrakers, except Mike Fahey. He seems to be pretty cool. She even ends her article saying that people are putting an agenda before the facts, of which my response to her is, hello pot, this is Kettle. Same goes for Polygon, even more so because they're blaming Ethan for alt-right attacks on the Wall Street Journal. And they even found an opportunity to bring in Gamergate 2 because they just love talking about that. H3H3 isn't even a video game channel, so why is Patricia Hernandez and Ben Kuchera reporting on it for Kotaku and Polygon? Probably because they just want to get those clicks for their bosses. Almost every shitty article has their name on it. Why they haven't been fired is beyond me. Why Kotaku has been shut down in general is beyond me, and I'm glad that I use AdBlock on their site and Polygon as well. And then last weekend, David Gabriel, the VP of Marvel Sales, had his words taken out of context by all these bloggers who took his words as him saying that they weren't going to be doing anything diverse anymore when that wasn't the case. The guy said that the slump in sales was due to Marvel screwing around with the core heroes, and he said they were going to stop that. And recently, the Daily Mail went after the Slingshot channel because of a review of his. Granted, the title was bad, but the guy's English isn't that good either, but he did fix it. These people who went after him saw the traffic that the Wall Street Journal got with that hit piece they did on PewDiePie in February. They saw how much traffic sites were getting when they were calling JonTron a white nationalist in March. So they said, hey, let's make the Slingshot guy look like he's making terrorist training videos. These online media sites are going after YouTubers with millions of subscribers so they can piggyback off their audience for clicks. That's all they're doing. I don't think there's this conspiracy to destroy YouTube, but that's probably an unintended consequence. These people are those who love to bring feelings to fact fights. You show them a fact and they ignore it and then pass it off their own opinion as fact because to them it feels like it's correct, no matter how wrong it is. Political ideologies have become the new religion, where they think that if they have faith in it, it's the truth and real. Constantly trying to divide the world into black and white when it's mostly a big gray blob. It's not easy. Sometimes you have to choose the wrong that's more right. There are things that are unnecessary evil, and you just have to accept that. While it would be nice for everyone to get along, it's not going to, nor will it ever happen, as everyone's different ideologies just get in the way. And when they let those ideologies be the basis for their message and use a platform they're employed by to spread that message, it's no longer journalism. It's virtue signaling. I don't give two fucks about your political standings or whatever bullshit narrative you want to peddle because it has nothing to do with gaming. It has nothing to do with an upcoming game that I'm interested in. If you're that desperate for content, don't flood your feed with stupid, nonsensical crap. Why not review more games? Give smaller indie games some exposure. You have the clout. You don't need to always review whatever big name AAA game is released that month and only that month. And you may be saying, well, if you don't like their content, then go somewhere else. I already have. Kotaku and Polygon are barely a blip on my radar anymore because they're going the way other sites and older media before them have gone. They're constantly garnering for clicks for ad revenue, and it's led to the spread of sensationalized misinformation that no one bothers to fact check. And even when it is fact checked, no one believes it because they would rather live a lie.